This episode of Play the Bay is brought to you by Believe and BetOnline.ag. The month of June is heating up with a ton of exciting sports action, and BetOnline is where you can find it. From basketball and hockey playoffs to baseball's marquee matchups, including prop bets and features, BetOnline has the latest odds, news, and information for all your online sports betting needs. Visit the website today or use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. So before the next tip-off, face-off, or pitch, head on over to BetOnline and start playing today. BetOnline, your online sportsbook experts. And now, Play the Bay.
From Channelside Drive, where Lord Stanley Cup rests.
Time ticks down, the Lightning win the Stanley Cup!
Travel across the bridge to St. Pete to find our American League champs.
And the Tampa Bay Rays have just won the American League pennant.
And get ready to fire the cannons.
Lob pass toward the end zone. Gronkowski, he makes the catch. Touchdown Tampa Bay. What a great grab by Gronk.
Because it's time for another episode of Play the Bay. Play the Bay.
Hello and welcome back to Play the Bay, presented by Believe Podcast Network and Three Daughters Brewing. We're back. We're back.
Woo! We're back.
We're back.
Almost. Well, we're at the same time. No, we're on the time, but not the same different day.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Holy Christmas. What
just
happened?
I just had a stroke. Sorry.
Are you okay?
I smell toast, everybody. Sorry about that. I smell toast.
Happy Bolts Wednesday, or actually happy Play the Bay Wednesday. We got the Rays doing great. We got the Bolts shutting down the series, going to the semifinals. I mean,
I tell you one thing. It's a great time to be a Tampa Bay area fan, man. Bolts,
yes, it is.
Rays. Football is going to be starting soon, defending the Lombardi Trophy.
Yeah.
It's a great time, man. It's a great time in Tampa Bay. It's a great time in Tampa Bay.
Hey, I saw the messaging that went out to Taylor, and he was trying to get under the skin a little bit for Tampa fans right now. And I was like, you can't even hear that right now.
What did he say? I didn't see it.
I'm excited to see Tampa Bay go 8-9 this year. Like, listen, we're not even like near. OTAs have just started. He's like, injuries can affect your team. Like, injuries can affect every team.
Yeah,
my friend. Mm-hmm. I was like, dude, like, you just say these nonsense things just to get a rise out of people. I'm just like, I had to just kept saying wrong in like the chat till eventually I just kicked him out of the chat. I was like, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I don't want to hear this right now or even read it. Like, you just put me in a bad mood. Thanks a lot. You just ruined my day.
Was that on Facebook?
Yeah, it's Facebook Messenger.
Okay, what I'm gonna say about Facebook is I'm not a fan, just personally, but it's become like
anybody.
No, but you just have to use it. You know what I mean? I also work in social, so it's a mandatory thing that I have to get on it. But I have all my notifications off because I do think Facebook is the worst place on the internet. I'm just going to put that out there.
And I agree. I don't even promote the show on Facebook anymore. I don't even do it. I don't. I focus on our Instagram and Twitter. Other than that, Facebook is for boomers. There you go. I see
it. Okay, boomers.
Yeah, Facebook is for boomers. I don't even mess with it anymore. I don't want to. Facebook and Zuckerberg, I'm sorry, but yeah, you need to maybe bring. You know what needs to come back? MySpace.
No,
dude.
Yes, MySpace needs to come back.
Can I tell you how lucky we got? So I recently heard that MySpace, I guess, because all of the profiles still existed for a while, and I guess at some point. They tried to transition or archive MySpace information, and they ended up deleting on accident permanently like 75% of the profiles. Don't quote me on that number, but it was a lot. It was most of the profiles and data from MySpace have been permanently deleted on accident. And we are lucky. Let me just say that. We are lucky because when we were growing up or when MySpace started, we had no concept of what putting things out on the internet meant, like the permanence of the internet. And we just got a golden ticket to live without anxiety because God forbid somebody decided to dig up some MySpace data and put that out there. I would be embarrassed. I had like 5 anonymous Jonas Brother fan pages, and I'm not embarrassed by that. I'm not embarrassed by that. But there's other things on there that I'm sure I would be. I don't even remember them. But
I'm trying to remember. I had like, you had the music player going on
the top 5 songs.
Top
5 songs.
I think I had like a 9 Inch Nails song going on, and then first it was top 5 people, and then they expanded it to 8. And then didn't it go to 11 at some point?
It was like 12. So you could pick. You could have like a top 1. You could have a top 2, top 8, top 12. But I remember like anytime it got super dramatic, I would just make a top 1 and just put the Jonas Brothers. And it's like, you can't get mad at me because it's just the Jonas. I had a problem, but I was also 12. So let's not forget. But
I tell you what, that top, top person ranking would break up a lot of relationship. What a relationship killer.
This is how you know. Sorry, I'm ranting. This is how you know that social media is run by men because they take away all of the features that would expose men. I'm serious. I'm over this shit. So they took away MySpace top 8s. We don't have that on any social platforms anymore. Ridiculous. Second of all, they took away the Snapchat. Remember, you used to be able to see people's best friends on Snapchat, and you'd be like, and they'd be like, "Oh, I don't even talk to that girl," and I'm like, "That's crazy," because she's your number 1 best friend on Snapchat. And even if her username wasn't the actual name, you could take the username and do Snapchat.com/the username, and it would tell you everything about that profile and who their best friends are. And then they took away the Instagram, the people you follow thing that shows you the people you follow are liking. So now you can't even see if your boyfriend's out there liking bikini pics or whatever is on Instagram. It's run by men, and I'm over it.
Conspiracy theories on the next Play the Bay. We have a question before we get into Houston 500 RE. We'll get to that in a little bit about the Rays. So I will answer your questions. So don't worry. We got some lightning talk to go into first. So
let's talk.
Richard checking in saying, "Yo, there he is."
But Kaylee's Instagram conspiracy theories. I love it.
Yeah. What are you guys drinking today?
Oh God.
I've got the Three Daughters former New England IPA with me right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I am completely anonymous without Three Daughters, and I need to go pick up more.
I feel you. I have a Prosecco with strawberries because I'm fancy today.
Yeah, well, you gotta have the pinky out while you're doing it too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I have
fancy. It's out there.
Fancy while you're doing it.
It's been a good day. Not today, but later will be discussed. In a couple weeks, maybe.
There you go.
Very not today, but celebratory Prosecco necessary.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Always good.
Yes.
I like it.
Do we want to jump into lightning talk?
Let's do it.
I think we should.
We have to because they closed out their playoff series against the Carolina Hurricanes last night with a 4-1 series lead. So now they're heading to the semifinals. I would love to know, who would you guys rather play in the semifinals? Because right now they're still waiting to find out if it's going to be the Bruins or the Islanders. Who would you rather play?
I think it. Oh, I'll let you go on this one.
Oh, okay. Well, I was going to say, I want to see tonight's game. I know that I've watched the series kind of a little bit. It's been very chippy. Still going to be that type of series with whoever I think the Lightning play. I don't know. The Islanders, I kind of think they're going to wrap it up tonight. That's who I think will win. So we'll see. I think it'll end up being the Islanders. So at this point, though, I don't really care. I think the Lightning are really starting to hit their stride, and I think they're going to run over whoever comes at them. So I think the Islanders.
I think at this point, who cares? I would love to just destroy a New York team and a Boston team. Anytime that a Tampa Bay team can just smack around any New York team or Boston team, I don't care. I would prefer Boston because Boston, there are usually a bunch of bitches on that team. Yeah, we can say bitches on this show.
We can.
We can.
We're running out of them before we have to put the little E for
disclaimer,
not family friendly. Yeah.
I just think we beat them before in the playoffs too. At this point, just give me whoever because they're gonna run all over them anyways. And once again, Andre Vasilevsky with a shutout for Game 5, proving once again he is not of this world. So, I just the way they've been playing is just it looks like Lightning hockey has come together as one, and that's what I think a lot of people were concerned about at the end of the season because of the injuries, and you didn't have Stammer, you didn't have Kucherov, but the bands, everybody's back. Hedman's I love that guy.
Killorn, Point. I mean, it's
Brandon
just everybody's kind of firing on all cylinders, which is great.
Man, Point being a sniper, just sniping it all the way. Like, it's just, going for 2 is not out of the question for this team.
Oh, no.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, as of right now, I don't see a team that could challenge them. Maybe the Avalanche, but I don't.
Do you
That's
think
the series?
Yeah.
Do you think where they're at right now, from what we've seen, especially this series, I know the Panthers were a little tough. It was a little more back and forth, but where they're at right now, what we saw last night, are they at the level that they were at last year? Because last year was so uncontested, right? It just felt like from the beginning, they were taking it home, and it continued that way through the playoffs until the Stanley Cup Finals. But do you feel like they're at that level where they are the clear-cut best team in the NHL going back to back? What do you think?
Oh, I don't know if clear cut Vegas and the Avalanche. And I watched a little bit of that game last night, and I'm going to start to watch more of it. Whoever gets out of that series and the Lightning is going to be, I think those are the 3. Well, it'll end up being the 2 best teams, but I love those 3 teams all together. I think all those teams are great, and I think they're above the Bruins and the Islanders. So, we'll see. But like I said, I haven't watched a lot of the series with the Islanders or the Bruins. So I'm going to watch that game at 7:30 tonight, kind of get a better idea.
I mean, if you're saying if they've reached their hi, how are you, baby? If they've reached their peak yet, I wouldn't say no, because I mean we're not there yet. I mean, they're heading up the mountain to the tippy top. They're almost there. I don't think they've hit that peak yet, which is good because you want to hit that peak once you've won the Stanley Cup. So
did I ramble and totally miss the question? Is that what I did?
No, you didn't. No, never.
Okay,
never.
No.
But I would say this: do they match up? I really think they are on the same level as last year's team. Now, obviously, the bubble.
Yeah.
And as they shorten season makes that a little bit kind of like a skewed with an asterisk to it, having them kind of be neck and neck. I just think this team they look really good. They've looked really good, and they have taken care of business. Obviously they've lost one game, and I think that's the game they should have won, honestly. But they look like it's going for 2. I'm going to say this again: going for 2 is not out of the question again. I really don't.
Yeah, I think the first period of this series was really important, and the Lightning held them scoreless 4 out of the 5 games. So, yeah. I mean, that when you're getting off the ground, you're getting momentum going, and you're scoring first, I think that's really big for the Lightning, getting out ahead first.
Right, I agree.
Yeah,
I definitely agree on that.
So,
Kaylee, what do you think?
I think if you remove the bias of regular season, I think they look very close to last year. Yeah. I think I think the only thing like tainting my opinion really is just seeing the regular season. I think obviously the series against the Panthers to open playoffs was tough and a little tougher than I think it probably should have been, or maybe people expected it to be. But I think after the regular season, we probably had a good idea that it would kind of be like that. But I think if you just isolate what they've been doing during the playoffs, I think you can argue that they're right there in line. I think if you're looking at the entire regular season, it's a little hard to make that argument as of now. Doesn't mean it won't be.
I agree with that, especially with the way Florida and them just went at it at the end of the season and then the first round. I'm glad that they faced the Panthers the first round.
Yeah.
Because they got that out of the way. I think that was so far their toughest series, and I think that might be their toughest series until we see somebody match up against them. Yeah. So I'm glad that they got that out of the way, because if you maybe would have faced Florida in maybe round 2, it maybe could have been a little bit different.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
needed full strength, I think,
Yeah.
almost. I mean, going into the season, they had a lot of motivation,
Mhm.
obviously, to beat the Panthers, and they knew that it was a scratch and claw, and the Panthers pretty much owned the regular season and had the Lightning number. So they had a lot of motivation going into that game, and I'm glad, or that series, and I'm glad they were able to claw it out.
Yeah.
As am I.
Yeah. So if you guys were going to, it's still early, but I feel like we've had a lot of players step up and really kind of make, big performances out of the playoffs so far. If you were going to hand out an MVP trophy right now, playoffs MVP, who are you giving it to right now?
The man with the 8 arms, man. Come on.
I'm not saying him because that's too easy. I'd go Brady Point probably.
I like that too. I was going to say him, but
I'd
we
probably
give it
go
to
Point, but also Killorn too. I mean, everybody's facilitating and firing, but Point's he's been unbelievable, dude. He's been
on
great.
point. On
He's
point.
been
like the play on words there, Chip.
He's been on point. Mr. Point has. So, but yeah, I think this next series, as long as the Lightning can keep scoring in the first period and build that momentum, and the power play keeps humming, I think we'll be okay.
I'm glad that you brought that up because that was something of a constant with Carolina was they just kept making stupid, dumb penalties, and then the Lightning capitalized on that every single time. It's almost comical when every time they got a power play they scored. It's like, do you know what's going to happen when you get a penalty against the Lightning? They are going to score. Talk about yourselves while my daughter figures this out.
Well, we know in the series they have, or at least the series with the Islanders and Bruins, we've seen a lot of penalties. And I know the Bruins coach has even brought it up about the officiating and some of the things that's gone on there. So I think the Lightning need to stay right where they are and try to stay away, obviously, from stupid penalties because our power play defense has been fairly good. Obviously, Vasilevsky's been unbelievable, but power play defense has been really well. So or done really well. So, yeah, we need to stay away from the stupid penalties. Don't put yourself in a man-down situation and let teams build momentum and get something going. And we did a good job of that during this series, so hopefully we'll continue doing that.
Did you guys check that Logan Paul or Jake Paul Floyd Mayweather fight over the weekend?
I'm never going to watch those fights ever.
We paid for it. Here's
my god.
Okay, is this a segment we're doing right now? Because I have a lot to say about it.
Yes, we're going to say that. We're going to.
And I feel like it's relevant because it was in Miami, so close enough.
Close. Yes,
yeah, close enough.
I paid for it. I will say, number one, I also paid for Triller, and this is for two reasons. One, I cover these events for work, so I have to, if I'm using sketchy links, sometimes I just don't want to risk it. Yeah. So I wasn't working on Sunday, but I did work during the Triller one. Horrendous, not worth $50. Showtime, on the other hand, with Logan Paul, very good production. It just reminds you of how these events should be put on. And I think Triller is soon to go out of business. So I think that makes a ton of sense. But I'm confused at how anyone is saying Jake Paul or Logan Paul won this fight.
Oh, he even thinks that.
I know, and I don't understand.
He's so delusional about it. Well, the thing is, there was no judges, so they couldn't declare an actual winner. But if you watched the fight and you had two eyes that were open and watching the fight, clearly Mayweather won the fight.
Clearly, clearly, technically, but also have you score wise, because it's not hard for people to get online and who know about scoring, and they have done professional scoring analysis on the fight, and it's clear that he won. But also, did you see the clip where it was like he knocked Jake Paul out, but he was holding him up?
Holding him up, yeah, I saw that, yeah.
Money. I love money.
Well, even Mayweather himself said he's like, when it comes to legal bank robbing, I'm the best at it. So, I mean, he even admits to it himself. It was just, I hate these things, but I get it. Like, you guys are marketing the hell out of each other. The Paul brothers are marketing geniuses when it comes to doing these types of things, and they're getting paid lots and lots of stupid money for being jackasses. And I get it. And this is the time we live in, especially when it comes to social media and like making yourself a celebrity. Like, you can basically be a jackass like people have done before and make tons of money. Like, But to say like you won the fight, no, you didn't win the fight. And I watched his backstage emotional crying. Thanks, guys. It's been an emotional ride. I can't believe this. What? It's like you reached out to him about fighting, and you knew you were going to get paid. So what did you expect?
You offered him 50% of the pay-per-views. Like, do you understand how large of an amount of money 50% of pay-per-views is? Not to mention that he claims he made $30 million leading up to the fight just through endorsements and press and all of that. So if that fight was scored and official and counted against his record and to anything else, right? Like if it was an even fight in scoring and like it was going to jeopardize Floyd Mayweather's record as a fighter, you would have been done in the first round.
Right.
He's not letting that go on past the first round. Like it's just not happening, but he likes money and he said they're going to put on a show and that's what they did. You wouldn't have lasted one round if you had
his flurries of punches looked like some guy that was trying to bat off a raccoon. I mean, he just was like swinging like this. It's like, that's not how you box, man.
Even the ones he landed because Floyd let him so he could then counter. And you've got how many pounds on this guy?
I just want one of them to get knocked out. I know his brother's fighting Tyrone Woodley, who's like, and the funny thing is about these fights is these guys, both of them are in their 20s, maybe early 30s.
No, 20s.
Okay, they're both in their 20s, but they're fighting old guys, like guys.
Then they call them washed up and out of shape. And I'm like, that devalues your win.
Yeah.
Like, you understand that? Like, when you book these fights and you're like, I'm definitely going to win because I'm not washed up and old, then why don't you fight someone? I know, like, Logan Paul came at Canelo, and I'm like, do it, because Canelo doesn't give
a rat's ass who you are,
Yeah, he doesn't care. He doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about endorsements. Score it, fight him, make it count against the official record. You won't last 10 seconds with Canelo. You're not going to last. But that's my thing, is neither of them have fought anyone legitimate. They also, like, Jake Paul hasn't had to go the distance with anybody, right? And Logan Paul, the only ones that have been scored, he's lost. So he has a losing record. And I'm like, you haven't actually had any legitimate fights. I also can't stand either of them because they're not good people either. So I'm really tuning in the hope that they just get knocked out and I get to see it. And I'm still waiting. Waiting.
I want Woodley to knock him out.
They're the idiot brothers. Yeah. I have gone nowhere near either of these guys. I don't know their names, their backgrounds, who they fight, what they do. But it's unfortunate that they make this much money because they're idiots. And people pay to watch idiots. And the only reason why these guys are making a ton of money or are so-called great at marketing is because idiots buy the shit.
Well, and because people want them to get knocked out. And when you looked at all of the comments, like everyone tuned in. I couldn't find one legitimate comment that was like, go Logan, I hope he knocks out Floyd Mayweather. That was not it. The sentiment under every single post, every single promotion, every piece of marketing was people are tuning in the hopes that Jake and Logan Paul are going to have an end to this nonsense. Like, that is what everyone wanted. And but I can't like disrespect Floyd Mayweather. He's in his bag. You know what I mean? Like, he was not tired. That fight took nothing out of him. At the end of the fight, he's sitting there talking and he's like, oh, he's better than I expected, whatever. He's letting this kid have his moment because he knows he's taking home probably $100 million and he does not care.
112 to be exact.
Correct. He doesn't care.
That makes me cry for society and like cry for us. Like, there's so many problems in the world, and that these two idiots can go out for like how many rounds? How many rounds did it go?
8. It went all 8.
They had three 8-minute rounds, which
3 8-minute rounds.
3-minute rounds.
8 3-minute
rounds. 3-minute rounds.
8 3. I'm sorry.
24 minutes of actual engagement.
And after the first round, like, Paul was like gassed. He was gassed after the first round.
24 minutes, 112 million. No wonder. I mean, I'm moving countries. I can't.
They live in Puerto Rico now, so they don't have to pay taxes. I'm like, that's who needs to move to Puerto Rico. And they've already had like a million complaints in Puerto Rico. It's not just that they're annoying or stupid or put out bad content. There's legality involved. They're not good people. Proven time and time again. I'm over it, and I want to see them put to sleep.
Yes. God.
You know how you could have saved $50 on that fight, Kayla?
What?
You should have just went on Twitter and just watched the comments.
Oh my gosh. So I went on Twitter. It's funny because like none of the links that I usually go through are working, and I'm not even going to speak them out loud because the NFL has come after some of these places for their links, and I don't want to put them on the map anymore because they're finally back up and running, and I want to be able to watch the NFL for free.
Yes.
And so I'm trying not to like put it out there, but none of the links were working. I'm assuming just because a lot of people were trying to watch it for free after the Jake Paul fight, they don't want to waste another $50. But eventually we were just like, we're gonna have to buy it because we can't get it anywhere. And like then I found a link on Twitter. It was buffering all the time. I was like, no, we're just gonna have to buy it. But
I didn't watch a link. I just looked at people's comments that tweeting out stuff. I was like, I could just follow the fight like this. I don't even have to watch, which I didn't. I was like, I'm just gonna watch the comments and see how it goes. My hopes and dreams were didn't even come true because he didn't get knocked out, and that's why.
You know what? Thank you for bringing that up because I really needed to vent about that.
You're welcome.
I needed to vent. I didn't even realize I needed to vent, but the numbers you guys were saying made me want to vent. Which
I wanted to ask the both of you before we move on to race talk. Does this tarnish?
Yes, everything.
Okay, all right.
All of it.
Wait, what?
I
was gonna say, does it tarnish like Floyd's reputation?
No, not at all. Because you think about, like I said, I think everyone knows that had that been a fight that was scored or counted toward his record or really anything other than money, it wouldn't have gone 8. It would have barely gone 2. Yeah. And so I think that's the whole thing is I respect Floyd Mayweather for getting his bag, for knowing how to entertain, put on a show, for knowing that like people who just paid money to watch. Also, you have to think like people just paid $50 to watch Jake Paul knock someone out in the first round of the fight. And like, it wasn't really worth that money because 10 minutes after the fight, you could just watch the clip on Twitter.
I know. But
I think he knows like the longer this fight goes, if people hear that it's going like, oh, it's in the 3rd round, oh, it's in the 4th round, like they might just hit pay on the $50 just to tune in to see if something happens. So I think he's a businessman. I respect his hustle. I respect him getting his bag. And I also don't think that this is any indication of how he fights. I think he just was there to make it go 8 rounds, to make it a show and to collect his check, which he did. So,
hey, if somebody's going to give me $110 million to dance with him for 24 minutes, I'm not going to call him stupid or not take it. You take your money when you can get it. And obviously he was the much better, well-known, professional, obviously strategic fighter, has a better reputation, one of the greatest boxers to ever live against, I don't even know, Jake or Paul or Ryan, whatever his name is, against that idiot who's making a ton of money for no reason, which makes me even more mad. So, but yeah, let's not talk about that anymore.
Let's talk Rays. So they beat the Nationals yesterday. They're currently down 2-0. How are we feeling about the Rays? I know this changes week to week, but Evan,
with Evan, it does.
Yeah. How are you feeling about the Rays over the past week?
I'm feeling good, man. They've been playing great baseball. Even though they split the series against the Yankees last weekend, but they've been playing good baseball, and that's all I want to see is good baseball. And what's good about it is it's there's more things to come during the year when they bring up more guys, and they are eventually going to do that. Taylor Walls has been great at shortstop. He's been hitting well. He's so disciplined at the plate, and he's been playing shortstop really well. And hats off to Willie Adames, who's been doing okay over in Milwaukee too. So so far the trade has been kind of even, right? Well, the move that they made has been kind of even by bringing up Walls and moving Adames over. I think Adames maybe needed to change the scenery. But to answer the question from Houston 500 RE, great Twitter name, by the way. I have no idea what that means. He's asking when Vidal Brujan is going to be up in the show. It kind of depends. I mean, he's slashing right now. He's batting .305. He's got 4 doubles, 7 home runs, about 21 RBIs, and he's stealing bases like crazy. I think he's got 13 steals. It kind of depends. What you have to learn is who are they going to bring? Who are they going to send down? You know what I mean? So who's going to be the odd man out if they bring Brujan up? And I don't see him coming up maybe after the All-Star break. Because, if there's maybe one guy you could pay, maybe Brandon Lau, who's not doing so good at the plate right now. But yeah, maybe Mikey Brousseau. He's He's just kind of a fill-in guy right now, but I think it's just, a matter of timing of when they are. It's going to come eventually. To answer your question, Houston 500 RE. He's on your fantasy watch list. I would maybe bring him up right now just to have him on the bench before he comes on up. But yeah, I love the way they've been playing, and hats off to Mike Zunino again, who had a great night last night against Washington. I'll eat old crow until you hit 30 home runs there, buddy. But yeah, it's been going good. You have two catchers that have a combined 15 home runs. That's good. Being a catching position, which they haven't had any kind of success with in a long, long time. So when you have two catchers in Zunino and Mejia that are hitting well and being good behind the plate, it's a win-win on all sides, because the Rays have a slight lead over Boston, which Boston is they lost last night, so the game, I think their leads up to 1.5 games. But yeah, anytime the Yankees are in fourth place, that's a win-win on all sides. It's great. It's a great thing. The Yankees are just struggling like crazy. And Garrett Cole's is a moron, by the way. Looked like a buffoon in that press conference. Did you see that?
I heard about it. I didn't see it.
About his alleged, cheating by putting substances on the ball.
Yeah.
He looked like a buffoon.
Juicing the ball.
Juicing the ball, yes. Juicing the ball. Just looking like a buffoon. It was great. Anytime the Yankees can look like buffoons, it's so good. And Aaron Boone is just a whiny little bitch.
Turkey.
Yes.
Well, 7-3 the last 10.
Yeah.
3-game winning streak, 19 games, I think, over 500. So definitely looking good on my over 500 bet thus far. Think we're going to be okay coming into the All-Star break on that. I don't want the Rays to do anything different right now. We are cooking. Don't bring anybody up. Don't send anybody down. Everybody just assume your position and keep doing what you're doing. No need to wreck the flow. They've obviously started to pick it up. Runs allowed, I think we're in the top 5 in major leagues. We're starting to score more. The batting average is coming up. Austin Meadows is just a rock star. I think he's leading the team with 14 home runs. And we just need to continue doing what we're doing. Don't mess with anything, dude. Everything is good.
What a turnaround that guy has had, from last season to
playoffs.
This season.
Disappeared in the playoffs, which was tough. It was tough to see because I love Meadows, Georgia guy, love him to death. So I want him to succeed, and he's doing fantastic now in a great groove. So, dude, just keep doing what we're doing and stay the course. No need to make big changes.
So you don't want anybody else to come up, even though it would make the team a lot better.
How do you make the team a lot better if you're not playing and you're sitting on the bench?
Well, I'm just saying. If they brought up Wander or Bruhan, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying I'm against your comment,
right?
Because if you rock the boat, then things get weird, and I don't want things to get weird. I love the way they're playing. You could send down the wrong guy, and then you rock the boat.
I think they won 18 in a row at one point and then lost 3. And then I think in the past, 28 games were 25-3. Something ridiculous like that. My thought is why don't touch anything. Don't do anything.
I don't want them to touch anything.
Yeah.
I
You're
really
the best.
don't.
You have the best record, best winning percentage in the major leagues right now. Don't touch anything. You're doing perfect. Just let it all go.
Let it go.
That's what I think.
Oh my God.
Haley, if it ain't broke, why are you going to try to fix it? Let it go.
I guess I do agree with that. I guess my main thing is we saw their injury bug hurt them at the beginning of the season, which we all agreed was the preferable of times when you want the injury bug to occur. But I guess, does movement give them more preparation in case something does happen leading into a playoff scenario? Right? Does making these changes and trying things out and figuring out what you have at your disposal lend itself to maybe not beneficial in the short term, but if you're already kind of feeling like you're going to roll into the playoffs and you want to try a few things, maybe it sets you up to know what's at your disposal for the playoffs? That's the only real thing I could think of would benefit them in doing that. Otherwise, I would agree. I wouldn't touch it.
I think after the All-Star break, kind of what you said,
Yeah.
I think if you're going to, when you start to see in the next, 60 days or so, maybe less than that, maybe 45, see where you're going and see how things are looking. Hopefully injuries, hopefully a lot of that stuff we saw in the beginning of the year stays away. But yeah, maybe as we get closer and deeper into the season, you see more of that.
I would say this too. I wouldn't try anything until you have a bigger lead on Boston, because you're only up a game and a half. So if you were going to try anything new or different, I would wait till maybe you have a comfortable lead against them, maybe like 7 or 8 games or maybe 10 games. Because if you start trying to do new weird things that you haven't tried before, and obviously it's worked so far by trying weird and new things, but you weren't in first place at the time. Excuse me.
Well,
I would wait till you have a big enough lead, maybe after the All-Star break.
Yeah, we played 62 games, I think, as of right now. So we still got a large chunk to go. So yeah, but I don't want to mess with. What do you got in your? What
I
is that?
officially hate Slinky.
Oh boy!
What?
I don't know what my daughter did with her necklace, but now it's wrapped in this Slinky.
It's over.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's done.
I'm gonna have to buy my daughter a new Slinky.
That's curtains. Yep.
Yeah,
Put it by the wayside.
So let's get into our likes and dislikes of the season so far for the Rays, because we're almost halfway to the point. Let's get into our likes and dislikes. Kaylee, what have you liked so far about this Rays team?
I think I just like that despite a rocky start and what felt like a very bland and very stale opening to the season, there has been a lot of good momentum moves heading into where we're at now to just kind of figure things out and really solidify. And I think that is the whole thing, right? Like we've seen them make these changes in the past where it didn't necessarily benefit them, or it really caused them to lose games or lose in big playoff situations, World Series situations. But I think they've done a good job of figuring out what works and sticking to it. So I think we're talking about not making changes. And I think that's probably what the plan is going to be, if I had to guess. But I think they've taken deep breaths when they've needed to, and they have known when to shake things up and when not to shake things up. After the start, which I feel like is a feeling out process. So
I like that a lot.
I love
good analysis.
I love Kevin Cash. There were so many people, and I won't bring up names, near the show and other places, all the fan base that
me?
were just like,
He's talking about me.
Talking about me. Manager of the year, went to the World Series. He's on the hot seat. I don't trust him. He doesn't listen to his players.
Hey, listen. It's clickbait.
Seeing this.
It's clickbait, Chip. Come on.
Pan out. I love it. Management, baseball evaluators, and what they did signing older pitchers so far, even though it was a rocky start, those guys are panning out right now. Now, it's a long season. We still got a long way to go, but so many people were like, oh my God, this is crazy. And,
who were those people? Oh my God.
I can't even imagine.
So
you dummies. You big dummies.
I love it that they're pushing all the right buttons. Cash is pulling all the right levers, and he truly is one of the best managers in the game of baseball.
And your dislikes? Do you have any? Do you have any dislikes?
Dislikes? No, man. I mean, all the dislikes we talked about really were, kind of at the beginning, and where this club had to overcome losing 2 hallmark pitchers and their staff. And they had the depth, and they have some younger talent, and we have yet to see a lot of that younger talent. We have been seeing it more on the pitching side due to injury, but this team really is full of good arms and deep arms, and that's showing the depth they need, and they're learning and they're catching on quick.
Sorry, my daughter's handing me things.
That's right.
There you go, baby. Go.
What are your likes, dislikes?
I like how they've just really look like a number one team. Like in the power rankings, they're number one.
Yeah.
And that to me it says a lot because, the national media doesn't really give the Rays a lot of credit, especially when they're doing well. They still talk about the Red Sox and the stupid Yankees and everything. But, when you have them at number one, where it's a deserving number one because they've been playing really good baseball. And what I like the most about it is the guys they've brought up, like the young pitchers, like the Josh Flemings, the Sugar Shane McClanahans, the Sugar Shanes, like, though, and new recently brought up Taylor Walls, like those guys are really making an immediate impact on the team where, before if they brought up young guys, you don't think they would pan out and the team would just be disastrous. They would be a quote unquote 500 team. That's what I've liked because, and you can almost say it's predetermined because the front office has waited for a long time to bring these guys up. And now they have. And like that's this, and I've said this before, it's like we're seeing the future of the team now because they're starting to bring up all these young guys that are in the rotation and in the starting lineup now. So like it makes the future even brighter for this team being like the top team now in the league. Now, obviously, we still have a lot of baseball to go. And Chip, I'll go back to, the veteran. Like, I never thought in a million years having Rich Hill, a.k.a. Dick Mountain, by the way.
Yep.
Like, we like a lot of people thought he was washed up. Like, with the injury bug and the injury-prone seasons he's had, like, he's 41 years old. Nobody thinks a 41-year-old could come in and, like, listen, his first couple of starts were rocky, but he's been lights out ever since. And nobody ever thought that. So he's really come in and replaced Charlie Morton pretty well for that veteran guy being in the. Wait, hold on. I'm not to knock Uncle Charlie out the way, but being that veteran guy in the rotation.
Okay.
He's filled in nicely. That's what I was trying to get at before you were trying to go.
I gotcha.
Push me
I'm
out
sorry. I got nervous. Those two guys
no.
in the same sentence.
No. But he's really come in and really kind of fit that veteran role in a really great way. He's really come in and really surprised a lot of people. And I really actually forgot the other day that Chris Archer was on this team. I really did. I was like, he's still
injured, but
he's still on the IL. I was like, man, I forgot he was on this team. So, when he comes back, it'll be interesting on how they kind of fit him in. If maybe they scale him back into the bullpen, or maybe they kind of put him in as a 5 or 6 guy in the rotation because, Yarbs did his first complete game in how many 700 days since the Rays have had a complete game. That's crazy.
Something like that. Yeah.
Glasnow almost had one last night. I mean, he pitched almost into the 8th inning. So I that's what I like to see more is, that's what I like. I think Kevin Cash is really trusting his starters more. Dislikes, there isn't really much to dislike, honestly. Maybe a couple of guys that should be hitting more. Brandon Lau, he needs to be hitting a lot more. But yeah, there's really not much to dislike about this team. It's really a great time. Maybe the other thing is Stu Sternberg, #Stu sucks. So yeah.
Yeah, that's always going to be a change. Ongoing investigation. Hopefully that brings some of those details to light we've all heard about. That'll be interesting to see down the road what they uncover.
And the T-shirt is catching fire because I've been seeing people in the Trop wearing the shirt, so it is catching fire.
Good.
Yes. I love that for you. An
Thank
influencer. You're an influencer.
Oh yeah, I'm an influencer now. Can I get the blue check? Can I get the blue check now?
Yeah.
So I can be verified on Instagram and Twitter now. That's all I live for is to be verified.
Yikes. No.
No? Damn it.
No.
Shit.
I don't know. You can fill it out. You can request it and just see.
Can you request that?
I did like 3 years ago. I'm still waiting on it.
They're rolling out the reopening of verification requests. So
there you go.
Their inbox is inundated with like so many requests. Like people that have like 5 followers. I want a blue check. People with 1 follower that just joined and had no profile picture.
Yeah.
I want to be verified.
Remember when Twitter profile? Are they still the egg if you don't have a profile picture?
I don't know.
I feel like they're not, but I also don't see a lot of people without a profile picture. So like, I don't really know. But yeah, they might just, people used to just be the egg and you would just get harassed anonymously by eggs. Terrible.
Bullying.
It is.
Not good.
All right, you guys, let's talk about some NFL.
Yeah, what do you want to talk about? Because there's so many. That was aggressive. I'm sorry.
That was aggressive.
There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many
That was-
storylines, different directions we can go with this. So obviously, there's nothing gleaming about the Buccaneers, but there are a few things here and there. What do you guys want to start with?
I mean, OTAs, we know obviously have started, I think, June 3rd. And I don't know, when do they wrap up? Are they wrapped? No?
Sir Thomas Brady was on the field the other day.
He was.
After his knee surgery, looking smooth, looking like he's a 33-year-old man stuck in a 43-year-old's body. So that's really a good thing too. So I mean, the surgery went well. He's looking great. I think he had a knee brace on, but still was out there with the rest of them in the god awful heat that we live in, and which is Florida, which is probably like 150 degrees on the field with with humidity that makes it 200 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what we all are really kind of wanting to talk about is the Julio Jones thing. Julio going to Tennessee.
Oof, I'm not going to say I told you guys so, but I definitely told you guys so. So you're welcome.
She does get credit.
I love the fact that a lot of people on social media automatically, even the talking heads that are being paid to be analysts, and I put that in quotations, automatically think, oh, this makes the Titans Super Bowl contenders. No, it does not.
They don't have a defense.
Yes, it does not make. Yeah.
Here's the thing is I'm just annoyed because it's like, can you just not like all of this just to lose in the first round of the playoffs? Like, come on now.
I love that tweet. Love that tweet, by the way, Kaylee.
I mean, that's just how I felt immediately. I was like, this is a lot to do just to not really make it past, just to like swindle other teams who are more deserving out of a playoff spot and then to lose immediately because you shouldn't be there in the first place. And we've seen it happen time and time again. All of this for Julio Jones.
Well, I'll tell you what. They lost Taylor Lewan. They drafted a rookie tackle who's going to be protecting, I think, on the right side. So you're lacking depth at a pretty critical position. They obviously got rid of Isaiah Wynn from Georgia, who is a bust. They wasted a first-round draft pick on him. He is gone. So it'll be interesting. But as far as skill set, when you look at their position players on offense, it's a pretty nasty assemblage of talent with Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Tannehill. Did hear that Brown did offer 11 to Julio. He denied and let Brown keep his jersey. I think he's going to be sporting number 8.
Yep.
With the Titans. So I think that was very, very cool of Brown to do that. But yeah, this will be an interesting trade just to see. We know Tennessee is one of the top teams that runs the football. So, you're going to see Henry a lot. And the question is, you're going to have to shade coverage to one way. And you're going to have to choose between Brown and Julio Jones. So you're going to lose. I don't know, which one do you think? I mean, obviously, I think you probably have to shade to A.J. Brown because he's younger. He might be a little bit faster and things like that. So does Julio, I mean, looking at the offense, Tennessee they run the ball 85, 90% of the time. Do you think Julio gets back to 1,000 yards and maybe 6 touchdowns?
No. I don't think so. I think they're going to have to feel out where the attention is, right? And I think that's something for their opponents to feel out as well, is where should we focus? What do we think they're going to do? And I think you've seen that happen. Pittsburgh, that happened where, you question Juju Smith-Schuster's production, but there's also a lot that goes into all eyes being on him. So you're going to divert it over to some of your rookies, your Chase Claypool, your Deontay Johnson. So I think that's going to be the same kind of factor. Is they're going to have to decide who their real weapon is and how they can exploit that in the best way possible. And their opponents are going to have to figure out who they think the weapon is and if they can pick the right choice. But I mean, I think there was a stat of like only 4 of their touchdowns last year were scored by someone other than a running back, right? Yeah. So they only like 4 were, I think either it was like only 4 were passing touchdowns or only 4 were scored by someone who's technically a receiver.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
I don't I don't think he plays the full season.
Oh,
Well, he never
injury?
has.
Well,
He hasn't in. I don't think he has in a long time.
I don't think he reaches 1,000 yards.
I don't think he reaches 1,000 yards.
I think it's going to be interesting because they're changing OCs and they're changing a lot of things. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I think there might be enough juice in the tank for one more big season out of him. I think personally. I
don't see it. I really don't.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Very, very similar.
How do you feel about Chip?
What do I think there's one more. I think there's definitely one more season. I think that he was a little bit banged up and he didn't get utilized the way he should. He always wanted to play, which means he was always playing hurt because he was still a number one, type of wide receiver. So last year he played hurt for a long time, but he helped the Falcons franchise build up Calvin Ridley. They drafted Pitts, so they saw an opportunity. I mean, the Falcons couldn't pay their draft picks right now, so they had to
now they can.
They had to free up cap room to do that. And
it's like, listen, we'll write you an IOU and post date the check until this whole thing goes through, and then we'll pay you. But we really got to wait until this thing goes down. I got into another Twitter feud again.
Did you?
Uh-oh.
With who?
Yeah. Actually, this time it wasn't my fault. It was something about the whole Julio Jones thing.
Yeah.
And then it's okay. Then this guy saying the Titans would be the top offense in the NFL, and I just laughed.
That's a wild accusation.
Yeah.
I mean, stop.
Yeah. Here it is. His name is I'm gonna call it. His name is Zachary Quillian with a Q. He says the Titans are going to have the best offense in the NFL.
Oh boy.
Quote unquote.
Gosh.
And I just laughed and laughed and laughed. I was like, do you know there's other teams that are way better than the Titans?
Well, I think it just seems crazy because when you look at Julio Jones, it's a huge addition. But when you look at everything they lack, you forget that they lack a lot of things, right? Like their entire offense ran through their one running back. And the reason that this move was so critical is that, like, we were terrible, okay? As a team, we were terrible. But the one thing we ended up figuring out is Derrick Henry, right? So when Derrick Henry came to Jacksonville or we played them in Tennessee, he never had a productive game. And a lot of teams are starting to catch on to that. When your offense runs through one player, you're not going to last very long. So they had to make a move, but that doesn't mean that they've now reached the pinnacle of NFL success. It's just that that's a huge piece, but it doesn't stop them from lacking defensive pieces, a better, more versatile offense, if I'm being honest, because I still think that this is it's a lot of money to put into one player when you could use a lot of different pieces on your offense. So they have glaring holes.
Yeah. And the one thing I'm concerned about too is, is Ryan Tannehill gonna be the guy that's gonna be able to sling the rock? I mean, we all know Tannehill can go up and down each and every season. You know, so
dude, his numbers over the past 2 seasons mimic Patrick Mahomes, except in yardage. His turnovers, completion percentage, everything else. Because of the way Tennessee ran their offense. Now, they have new positions and new coaches, so that could be a thing of the past. I don't think it will be, but we'll see. His numbers mimic Patrick Mahomes and almost everything else besides yards. So that is, me personally, that's an indicator that he can definitely do it, and he's done it. So, but new staff, new direction-ish, maybe.
New. And don't tell me they're going to be the best offense in the NFL. That's ridiculous to me.
Oh no,
the most asinine thing I've ever said.
That's quite silly. There's Kansas City. There's the Buccaneers. There's a lot of other teams that can have a lot more offensive prowess.
Arizona is in a better spot than they are right now.
According to our good friend Taylor, the 49ers are the best team in the NFC right now. So. Yeah, if you believe that.
I mean, this is a team. I mean, you got to be careful now. This is a team that did go to the Super Bowl a hot minute ago, and their team was decimated by injuries, lost 4 Pro Bowlers on the defensive side of the football, lost running backs, lost offensive linemen. I mean, I'm not saying they're better than Tampa. I'm saying that they're almost up to the caliber if they don't lose half their squad.
Yeah.
I agree.
In like 4 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
which God help them. That'd be awful if that happened again. So, but we'll see.
We'll see.
Well,
We got to get out of here
coming.
because Miss Kaylee's got to do Onside Chicks with Jordan. So
yeah.
The OSC, you know her.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say you know me, but I'm not part
yeah,
of the.
don't do that.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what's so cool having Taylor Walls on the Rays now? You can go to the window, to the walls, to the walls, to you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, you know.
Because
You know the other thing.
If you finish the lyrics, then we would definitely have to put an
We
E
would-
next to the episode.
definitely lose $3 as a.
I definitely cursed on accident today. I'm sorry about that, guys.
It's
Listen,
I also did too. So we're
I know.
Yeah,
We're not saying those like really bad cuss words. Just the nice ones.
the
Nice ones
mild ones. Yeah.
the ones they let on TV now. Like
there you go.
Mhm.
True.
That's important. Yeah.
It's very important.
If this was Europe, they would all be on TV, but
Oh, yes,
we
of
won't go there. All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
Go Bolts. We'll find out potentially who we play tonight. If the Islanders, I don't even know if they're winning or not. Their game did start. But yeah, we'll see who we play and on to the next round.
Make sure to go to your local watering hole, which is $3 Brewing, and get yourself a tasty brewski. And go to betonline.ag and get 50% off your welcome bonus. Other than that, go Rays and go Bolts. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Make sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at PlayTheBayTB. Subscribe on YouTube and Twitch, and rate, review, subscribe on Apple and Spotify. And we will catch you guys next Tuesday, probably back on schedule.
Yes. Smash
According
that.
to the Lightning series.
Smash that follow button. Smash it.
Do it.
Smash it.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Play the Bay. We'll be back again with another episode on the Believe Podcasting Network. If interested in advertising, please contact Believe.com.